Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you have an absolutely amazing 2015. And today I'm here just to do the cards, not only for January, but to give us an idea of what the energy is going to be like for the whole year of 2015. Recapping 2014, for me it was an interesting year. I didn't only learn a lot about myself. It seems like a lot of, I don't want to say secrets, but unknown information came up around different situations in my life and within people in my life. And so that part's been interesting. People started to finally share things that they weren't wanting to share and feeling more comfortable with themselves. So as you start becoming more comfortable with yourself and with who you are, you're going to find the people around you are either going to disappear or they're going to follow suit, and they're going to kind of do the same thing. They're going to start sharing more information maybe than they have ever shared before. And this is because we do follow the pattern of the people who are in our lives. And that is for one reason why I try to be the best I can be for the people who are around me. I'm saying I'm perfect, not by any means. I definitely need to find a better balance between exercise and eating. I used to exercise a lot and could eat anything, and now I find I can't eat as much as I'd like, but then I don't exercise nearly as much as I'd like either. So, there's always some balance in our life we're still, I don't want to say struggling with, but trying to pursue a better level of comfort for ourselves. Let go of some of the old and bring in some of the new. And so there's always something at this time of year that we're looking at, or for me, it's almost in each and every day that I look at to see how I can change things for myself to feel better, because for me it really is all about feeling like I'm in a very good and healthy space in my relationships, with myself, with my health, with my work, with my friends and family. So for you, you can take a look at some of those areas in your life and maybe even rate them on a scale of 1 to 10, where you think they are for you right now and what really needs improvement. In my coaching practice, I help you look at some of those different areas, and we look at, I believe it's 8 or 10 areas that we try to see where they're at and then improve upon them in different ways and see where you're struggling and what needs to change in order for you to break through some of the things that maybe are holding you back from living that life that feels joyful and makes you happy. So today I'm using the Ascended Masters cards by Doreen Virtue. And it's funny, this morning when I went to look through my 25 decks of cards, which I don't know how many I have, I'd have to count them, but there's quite a few. This deck was pulled out a little bit, so I just grabbed it, and that's how I picked today's deck. So as usual, I'm going to pick 3 cards and see where we're at and where the energy is taking us. So the first card is Crystals, and it's Epona is the Ascended Master. And for me, this looks like the beginning of a journey. Collecting the things we need, taking them with us, things that make us feel good. Because in the beginning, when we start dealing with change and start doing things differently, it's important for us to have the support system around us in order to help us change into that new direction that we want to go in. It's hard to move forward if you're moving forward with nothing. So as much as some of us like to build a whole new life, and I have clients and that come in, and they want to change their job, but sometimes the stability of having the job you're currently in, even if you're not completely happy in it, is very important in order for you to grow that other part of your business. And the same goes with anything you're doing in your life. If you're making a change, you can. I'm not saying you can't just give everything up and go and change, but there needs to be some type of support system in place for us to be able to move forward into that new area that we're moving here. So you'll see she has crystals with her, which is supporting her. She's got her belief system there. There's also a couple of friends. They look like they're fairies playing music. So maybe it is music, that inspires you. So make sure your music's nearby. Could be, you keep your exercise regimen going when you're trying to start something new. Or it can be just the support of your family or friends that you have to fall back on to help you when you're trying to start something new. And with it being the unicorn and charging ahead just because of the horn, she's very content. She's not charging ahead. You'll notice she's not dropping everything and her chin's not, butted forward like she has to get going. Or sometimes the head's down like you're going to plow forward. You need to make sure that your head and your face is level. It's very important. That really is part of you also being balanced, and your feet facing forward. If one foot's out and one's forward, you're going to just be going in circles. If both of them out, it's going to be harder to go forward. So even watch the placement of your feet at different times of your life to make sure they are moving directly ahead of you. And your chin is even with your head, so that you're looking forward and you're doing what you need to do. And take whatever support system with you need. Epona, you can also call on her. I don't know much about her actually, so we'll just take a look and see what she has to say. Many of us, especially with New Year's resolutions, if we don't do them every day, we save them for this time of year. It's important for us to be able to have that support. So she mostly works with crystals. She's a fairy queen, knows the value of connecting with the spirit of nature. So even going outside to help figure out what you need to help support you in these changes is a great place to go and a great place to be. So the next card is about fertility, and it's Pan. And fertility for me in this card, if we're moving forward, we need to allow time for things to fertilize, time for things to grow and become something. Sometimes we think, oh, it's not working. I've given it this much time and it's not working. Well, maybe you need to stay grounded in your space and allow yourself to be in that space long enough for something to happen. If you were to plant a seed and give it only 2 weeks to grow, and you didn't know anything about that seed, what kind of seed it was, and you just decided to dig it up because it wasn't working, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense unless you've been there, you've done this before, and you know how long things take to move forward. It could be a seed that takes a lot longer to germinate. And so allow yourself that time. I do a lot of TAing, teacher assistants, for the cranial sacral courses, and there's so many students there that put their hands on other people and they don't feel anything, so they move on to the next spot. And what I tell them is to keep their hands in that space. If they're feeling nothing under that space, chances of nothing is going on under that space. the energy hasn't started moving yet. It's not that it's okay. The fact is that it's not okay. It's in a very deep state of sleep or of disease. And so keeping your hands in that one spot for a period of time allows things to start waking up, to awaken, and allows things to start moving, the energy to start moving slowly. And then sometimes it takes 5 or 10 minutes before you can feel things starting to move. And so even in your life, if you feel things aren't moving fast enough, stay and just be with it, especially if this is something you really want. Try and not flutter from one thing to the next, because you will never find success moving that quickly through things. You need to stay with something and allow it to develop, allow it to grow, allow it to become something alive. So the last card is Power of Joy. And this is great. Great card to end with. So not even through the month of January, but through this whole year of 2015, I ask you to please just be patient with everything that's going on in your life. You know, find out what you need to support you as you're maybe spending a bit of time waiting for things to develop. You know, stay in a stable place that helps you keep one foot at least on the ground and healthy while you're working on something else, moving something else through. Make sure you're not jumping from one thing to the other. Allow things to develop with time, and as you allow things to develop, and just like those students whose hands have been there and all of a sudden their eyes get bright because now they can feel something. They've waited long enough to feel something under their hands. I mean, that is this card, the Power of Joy, because they light up and they can feel things happening. And it's been a huge reminder for me through working as a coach now, because when my hands are in someone, I can feel things happening. I know things are happening. But when I'm coaching and I'm talking to someone, I've been able to start developing a different sense, because I'm not using my hands. I'm using a lot of my other knowledge and helping people move through things in a different way. And so the development of starting something new looks different and feels different. And it's not that something's not happening. It just takes a little bit more time for you to understand what it is that's going on, for you to develop an understanding of this new work you're doing, or this new relationship you've entered into, or whatever it happens to be for you that you're planning to do for 2015. So try and keep those ideas close to your heart and realize what is important to you. I was asked to pull the Soul Path message cards. I got these at a workshop, or at that I was doing earlier this year. There was a lady there that was selling these cards and doing free readings. And so I had a free reading, and then I picked up her cards, and I'm just told to pull one of these to help with this year. I'm not terribly familiar with them, but one just popped out of the deck. So Discontent. Okay, so if you've worked with energy, this is kind of fun, because you can actually see where the energy is going in your body. When someone's content, what happens is, and I was hoping I could find a card here, the aura will expand outwards in all directions, and it'll be a beautiful glow, and it'll be healthy, and it's just a beautiful light that expands outwards. This card of Discontent, you can see that it does not expand outwards, and in fact, there's a darkness attached to the lower part of the body, to the part that's connected to the earth. Discontent will give you an unhealthy attachment to whatever is going on in your life. if you're in this state, I want you to really pay attention to this, and recognize that even the energy at the top is not flowing anywhere. It's just kind of like a cloud over your head. So look at your life and see what areas of your life you are discontent with. What's going on that you're not completely happy with? And usually, those are the areas we need to work on. There might be more than one. I know in parts of my life, and if you've read my book, then you'll know that there's been times in my life where all of the items in my life I was not content with whatsoever. I wasn't doing the job I wanted, didn't have really the relationship I wanted, I wasn't happy with myself, hadn't found that self-love, which I mean there's many levels of self-love. So even if you think you found it, there might be another level, there might be another part of that self-love you need to find that's even deeper than the one you found before. And even with your relationships, they might feel really good, but there might be another level of making those relationships feel really awesome. Or your job. You know, maybe it's, you have a great job and you love it like I do, but maybe there's something else that's missing. There's another piece to it that could really, really make you feel even more alive and make you feel like you're helping even more. So I do love doing these readings, and I know many of you email and comment on them, and I'm happy to have all of you who do watch these continue watching them month to month. And if you ever want to forward them on to anybody, of course, I'm always happy to share whatever information I'm sharing with you. That's the whole point of doing this, is just to expand this information so many people can also grow and heal and become something more than what they are. There's always room for that, no matter who you are. And so I wish you all the luck in 2015, and Happy New Year.